Hello, this is Ryan Womack, data librarian at Rutgers University Libraries. That's me in the corner, me in the spotlight, losing access to my big data. This is a non-instructional video. This is more of a personal blog post reflection type of video where I'm simply recording some things for posterity before I delete them. So I've gotten a little bit of feedback on this practice of mine in previous comments, but I'm sticking with this practice that when I have content that's 10 years old and I have no intention of updating it, that's code-based, technical-based, I'm going to delete it. I have no, I'm working on other things, and if there's something that I don't have the ability to even check whether it's current, whether it's still relevant, I don't want that older technical content out there floating around. So I have a phased practice. I am announcing this deprecation of projects 2 years ahead of time. So after a project has been up for 8 years, you might see a deprecation notice. But once I hit 10 years, I am going to delete a non-active project. And so this video is about big data, which was actually one of my very first GitHub hosted materials. And it was certainly the first major project that was GitHub hosted that I did. In June 2015, I presented a suite of materials on big data at the IASSIST conference held then in Minneapolis. That was a great experience, as IASSIST conferences always are. And I created videos based on that. This formed the core of material that I reused in Rutgers instruction for several years. And I'll just point out, right, that 2015 time was sort of peak big data, right? Right now, for the last few years, we've been hearing about AI, and many new projects. People don't talk about big data anymore, even though it still exists. It was a hot fad buzzword in 2015, and like I tend to do with projects, I was interested in seeing how things actually work rather than simply talking vaguely about it. So I put together a workshop series that looked at some of the commonly used techniques to handle big data, from explaining the MapReduce paradigm, things like Hive and Pig as languages to deal with that, an example of a larger set of data, the Common Crawl Web Archive, and some novel projects that weren't as long-lived, like Tessera at the time. And so it's a sampler, right? It's a sampler of different techniques. The GitHub code was on my Ryan Data site. I am recording this video just prior to deleting the project. So the video serves as a kind of record that this was there. My YouTube playlist of videos is here. This wasn't quite like this, the time series analysis, which apparently really got boosted by the algorithm on YouTube because there weren't many time series in our videos at that time. This one has a total of 5,000 views, respectable numbers, but not massive numbers, and something that definitely sort of tailed off, right? I don't see these numbers growing. I think most of those views come from very early 2015 to 2018 period. You can also observe the pattern of usage of the videos is that relatively few people worked through the whole sequence, right? It's chunked into the specific techniques, So people zoomed in on what they were interested in. The intro has over 3,100 views, but the part 3 on Hadoop on EMR, the Amazon Web Services instance, is the big one with 4,800 views. So even people who didn't bother with introduction, like they jumped to that. Other topics hover around 1,000. Spark 553. Then we get to this point where people get fatigued with the video. 346 views for the Hadoop ecosystem explanation. I think probably part 8, 1,400 views for Mbari, is something, again, the specific keyword. Maybe there weren't that many videos out there, third-party videos referencing this process at that time. So that one has 1,400, but our Hadoop 457, Tessera 300-ish, 170, 290 views, much lower level of interest, even though for me as an R person, that was one of the really cool packages. That was the thing that I was more excited to discover at the time that I worked on this. And again, back up to 5,000 views for the Common Crawl data. Again, because people search for how do I use Common Crawl data, and they discover something. And only 243 videos for the conclusion of the series. So, again, it's interesting archive, snapshot, time capsule. These are all coming down. These are when I post the video you're watching, if you're watching this, these videos will be taken down, but it's my evidence that they were there in June 2025. In July 2025, they're going to be taken down. Once again, I don't have capacity to revise this. I don't have capacity to respond to people's comment. If anyone does discover this and then asks a question on YouTube comments, like, I don't have time to get into that stuff. So I am recording my reflections almost as a eulogy for my hands-on big data work. I will point out that the printed product, the readable product, is permanently available. It will always be there, even though the code is gone. You can find all my work at my website, ryanwomack.com, and just click on the CV links. But if you go to the, I lost it in the scroll, if you go to the workshops section, you will see the hands-on big data link there with the PDF. And this link will also go away because the link takes you to the GitHub page, which again I'm going to deactivate, but the DOI takes you to the PDF version of the slides, the outline of what I covered, starting with that initial presentation, and also, as I mentioned, form the basis of Rutgers instruction for some time. And here we go. Here are the slides. So you'll always be able to get to these. You will see the approach that I took, again, as a sampler to expose people to the various packages that were popular at the time in 2015. If anyone is still active in this area, they could maybe comment and describe, are these like purely nostalgia for you at this point, or do they have they evolved into other tools? So you can see a grab bag of tech, of acronyms, and after a brief introduction to what is big data, still something that we talked about in 2015, it goes into the specific methods, hands-on illustration, right? So in order for me to keep working on these types of things, hands-on illustration of other content, more data and statistical content rather than general computing these days, I, again, have this practice of, after 10 years, it's coming down. I I don't want to be associated with outdated technical content fundamentally. So hope you understand that. Again, this video is more my reflections. Other videos that I post will be much more current, active, live workshops and demos and discussions. So thank you for your curiosity and patience about this topic. If you have made it to this point, nothing has changed about my usage of Ryan Data or my YouTube channel. I still post new projects and new videos there, but the focus changes over time, right? And so you can see that big data is actually, as I said, one of the first major projects I put on GitHub. It's coming down. Other things that you'll see coming up in the future, you'll see that deprecated if you look at my repositories, and some of those other projects are coming up in the queue in the next couple of years. So if you really want that code, fork it, copy it, download it. That's the purpose of me putting that little deprecated notice on my GitHub content. All right, let me stop there. Thank you for your attention. Wishing you well in your data learning. Thank you.